Hey everyone, it's Kerri. How are you? Happy Friday. Getting started with some Feng Shui Friday stuff. I'm really having fun coming on here regularly and chatting with all of you. I'm gonna adjust my camera a little bit. It looks like I'm right in your face. Yeah, I'm really enjoying these, and I hope you are too. I'm going to talk today a little bit more about energy clearing. So, 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago, I did a talk that was kind of about energy clearing, and I shared a lot of the tools that I use to kind of shake up the vibe and make things feel better around you. So I'm not going to go through that part of this energy clearing discussion again. Go back into the videos on the Feng Shui Pathways page, and you can um, check in with that one. But I do want to just chat for a minute about what energy clearing is for those of you who are new to it. Um, it's a really big part of feng shui in the sense that in feng shui, we're looking at how energies are flowing and about keeping positive vibes and positive energy flowing in your direction. And energy clearing is just this process of acknowledging that as energy builds up in a space, um, sometimes it can get heavy and dense and thick. And there can be reasons, like physical reasons in the space, that cause the energy not to be able to flow really well. That's what we're looking at in feng shui, and we're trying to shift that so that the energy can make it to all the little nooks and crannies in your house and move around and flow through it and then flow out and allow space for new, fresh energy to come in. So, if you have good feng shui going on, hopefully your house is not going to be as prone to getting this heavy, dense energy buildup. But every once in a while, it's still good to clean the energy. It always feels really good. And I'm going to talk about the reasons why it's most important. But energy needs to flow. We want to make sure it's flowing, and we want it can stagnate in your space. So there's a couple things that can happen. It can get stuck in a corner. It can like get caught in a room that doesn't have good flow in it, and then it can be hard to flow out and get that fresh energy in. And also, energy responds to what's going on in the environment itself. So if you are sick for a week, like you're just not feeling well and you're dragging and your body is not well, you are putting out some energetic vibes of your own, which can linger in the space. Whatever's going on in the space, whatever's going on within you, radiates out. That's energy. Energy transforms and transmutes into the environment itself. But it doesn't necessarily always get all the way out. It doesn't dissipate completely. So if there's heavy stuff going on in your house, lots of stress or overwhelm, it'll start to the energy like will kind of stick to the walls, and it gets heavy and it weighs everything down. So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit more today, so you understand when you'll know when it's as I'm talking today, you're going to know that it's time for you to do an energy clearing or not. And I want to talk about this because energy clearing is one of those things that you can really do on your own. You don't need to have a lot of knowledge about clearing energy or even specific tools. There are specific tools which I use, and there are definitely specific tools which are recommended in the process of clearing energy. But you can do it yourself without those things. And I talked about some of those ways in that video 2 weeks ago that I mentioned. So you can do it yourself, and it's a really powerful process. And I encourage you to do it yourself often. Whenever you feel like you're heavy or you're stuck, go clear the energy a little bit. It will make a huge difference. There is a difference between doing it yourself and having somebody come in and do it for you. I like to think about this as, I can certainly clean my own house, and I do. But I've also hired people to clean my house in the past, and the level of cleanliness that they can clean my house in and the efficiency that they can do it in is totally different. So when I've had a cleaner in the past, I come home and my toaster is polished and there's not a crumb in sight. When I'm responsible for cleaning my toaster, yeah, it doesn't even get cleaned. So there's just a different level. So I think we all have our own energetic vibe and our own set points, and you can go through and you can clean your house energetically and be very, very effective. But it's when you have somebody else do it for you, it's a different level of energy clearing. And usually when somebody comes in with those specific tools and that specific skill set, it's a different level. But don't let that stop you from clearing your energy on your own when you're feeling like things are stuck or feeling like you can't, like you're a victim of the space. You're not at all, and you can really do powerful things on your own if things are feeling off. So typically when to do energy clearing is any time that it feels like heavy or stuck. If you've ever walked into a space, like if you ever walked into a room where there's people in the room and you kind of walk in and you just instantly get that feeling that there's just been an argument or people are ticked off at each other or something's going down, like that feeling that, builds up in a space is use that innate intuition that you have to start paying attention to how your space feels and sensing when it feels a little bit off or when it feels heavy. So if your space feels heavy or you're starting to feel lethargic or frustrated or like it feels like you're moving through molasses, like you just can't pull it together. That's a sure sign that the energy is not flowing very well and that it's time to shake things up a bit. This whole topic came to light for me to speak about because I actually got a call from a client who's been a client of mine for several years, and she has different properties that I work with her on. And she called me on Tuesday, early in the morning on Tuesday, and said, I think the apartment needs to have an energy clearing. And we started talking about it, and I asked her why she thinks it needs a clearing. And she said, well, the other day I was looking at pictures of when her dog was a puppy, which was a couple of years ago. I met her dog when it was a puppy because I was there doing an energy clearing of the space. And this picture was taken after that. And she said she was looking at the picture, and in the picture, the space looks really crisp and vibrant and clean and just good. But when she looked around the space while she was in it right now, in reality, it feels heavy and it looks kind of cloudy and foggy and just not crisp at all. And so I love that description because that's really the truth. Like, I think part of the problem is that we are rushing around and we're busy and we're just feeling our feels, but we're not like stopping to take a minute to like look around and feel and sense, is this, am how I'm feeling a reaction to what's going on in my space and in my surroundings. But if you're paying attention to your surroundings, or you notice that you're feeling a certain way, take a minute and stop and pause and say, is this me feeling this way, or is this outside of me and I'm being impacted by it? So your space might feel heavy. It might feel like you're walking through molasses. It might look like off. It might just look uninspiring and like my client said, kind of cloudy and foggy. One of the things that I noticed recently is that the sounds in the house will be a lot more shrill and kind of annoying, just annoying. Like typical sounds that are going on all the time will just start to really grate on your nerves. That happens to me, and it's usually one of three things. It's either that time of the month, it is because I haven't been taking my vitamins, or it's an energy situation. And the energy, that's just a sign that the energy is stuck or not moving or not good quality. And one of the techniques that I use to know where energy is stuck in a space is by ringing a bell. And often in that area of the home that is really stuck, the bell will it'll clink instead of ringing with this beautiful chime sound. So using all your senses is a good way to know when things are off. and paying attention to it, um, and noticing, and just not like, I think a lot of us are like, "Ugh, I'm so lazy, I don't know what's going on," but it's not you. It's sometimes it's outside of you, and you get to give yourself a break. And when you do this energy clearing process, you can shift that, and then it shifts the energy around you, which makes it easy to shift, feeling more energized and active. Let's see. Anytime that somebody's been sick in the space, or sad or depressed, if there's been a death in the space, or a lot of grief around a death or an illness, or any other type of situation, it's definitely time to clear the energy. And you guys, I'm not seeing any comments or anything. I do see there's people watching. If you are here, let me know you're here. And also, I'm going to have time at the end to answer questions. So if you have any questions about energy clearing, or about feng shui, or things that are going on in your house, go ahead and post them in the comments, and I'm happy to answer those before I wrap up. Also, any big change that's going on, if you are going through a divorce, or maybe empty nesting, or maybe you've lost a job, like any kind of like big stressful event that's been going on in your life, again, that's energy that you're going through and that you're emitting. Like, you might be emitting a lot of stress and worry. Hi, Teresa, good to see you. Then that's radiating into your space and affecting the energy. Like, you could have the best energy flowing into your space, but because of the situation that's going on and everybody's stress and anxiety over it, you're really weighing the energy of the space down. And so anytime something like that has happened, or is going on for a long period of time, you want to do an energy clearing. If there's like lots of arguing or other types of things like that going on, great time to clear the energy. Anytime, like, there's just, say you have a big argument with one of your kids or your husband, or any kind of anything, maybe you're on the phone and arguing with somebody on the phone, it's great to do an energy clearing and just get all that energy out. Hi, Ingrid, how are you? I'm so glad that you like these. I'm really happy seeing you here. I appreciate it. Yeah, so anytime there's like lots of energy, I have another story which I'll share about that, like that constant, like, bickering at each other and those kind of things. Those are ways to not maintain the energy, which I'm going to talk about next. Liz says your house totally needs an energy clearing and you're enjoying these tips. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so after doing an energy clearing, normally your space will feel a lot lighter. Typically, you'll feel lighter. Things resonate better. Like, everything looks cleaner and sharper and clearer. And, like I said, the sounds resonate a lot more pleasantly through the space. So there's just so much that makes a difference. I did actually go. I spoke to that client on Tuesday. Oh no, on Monday, and by Wednesday I was actually at her space and we were doing the energy clearing. It definitely needed an energy clearing. They had a lot of stuff going on, work-wise, and a lot of stress within some business transactions that were happening, and so it definitely needed to be cleared out of that space and kind of recreate the boundary where the home, the apartment, was a sacred space again, and none of that icky stuff was allowed in. So anyway, I was doing the energy clearing. I was like on step 1 that I usually do of 3, and I looked at the client and she said, I can already feel how much better it is. It's like it's working already. So it's really a quick and a powerful process. And it usually doesn't take very long to make that shift or that change. So how to maintain it? Like, I think people often feel like you clear the energy and that's it. It's good. It's like feng shuiing. Oh, I feng shuied my house 7 years ago. That's not how it works. It's like a life process. It's a daily devotion almost. And so this maintenance that I'm going to talk about is part of devoting yourself to maintaining that high vibe energy and making it feel better, and raising your standards for the energy and the space around you. First of all, just deciding that you're going to show up differently. When I was finished with that client the other day, we had a good long conversation about, creating this sacred space. This apartment is sacred, and you get to choose what comes in and what comes out. And if you're going to have discussions about work stresses and contracts and all of those things, maybe you can go out to dinner and do that, and then not have the energy all building up within that space. And kind of creating a sacred boundary where you don't allow the stress and the worry to come in. um, Appreciating your space, like you do the energy clearing and it feels really good, but take some time every day to do something that makes it feel really good. Those simple tasks, not tasks, but those simple actions of lighting a candle, or putting some flowers out, or keeping some nice healthy fruits around you, or taking the time to devotionally dust or clean one part of your house is really powerful. And so even though you've done the energy clearing and it feels really good, one of the ways to maintain that is by to continue appreciating it, and to continue um, putting energy into the space, and putting things in that give energy back in a positive way. Music is a simple, easy way to switch the vibe of your space. And if it's so, maybe you've done the energy clearing and you wake up and it's kind of feeling dull, or maybe you're feeling off, take a moment to do things for you that realign your energy so that you're in a good place and you're not bringing the energy of your surroundings down. Um, this is something that we implemented in our house probably a couple years ago, but there was like, mornings are hard for us. I have one daughter who gets up easy and one daughter who likes to sleep in. She's just like me. And when I wake up, I'm tired and I'm cranky, and she's tired and cranky. And then, if I'm trying to wake her up and yelling at her, it's just like a crappy way to start the morning. And everybody feels awful, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And so it's like make a decision to not have your mornings go that way. And so uh, I made that decision, and I take time in the morning to just kind of wake myself up and get myself in that spot where I have enough energy to go and put the effort into waking her up gently. And we also do things like having a morning playlist and having a fun little routine where we shake off our tiredness and all of that. So come up with little daily actions that shift the way different situations have to go. Choose how you want your morning to go, and add some things in that, raise the vibe of the actual activity itself, so that the activity within the house isn't dragging the energy of the house down. Does that make sense? Um, Definitely creating that sacred boundary where negative energy just isn't allowed in. That's a big part of it. The other day when I was at that client's house, this client is actually, the apartment is located very close to the business that they run. And so we created a crystal grid around the apartment itself to create this like crystal force field that keeps that negative energy out. And then making sure that on the inside, she's maintaining that energy with all these things that I'm sharing with you now. I had a client a couple of years ago that had called me in because they were trying to sell their house, and the realtor was actually the one who called me and said, the energy of the house is just really low. It's really difficult, and I think people are sensing it. And she explained to me that it was actually two sisters who were trying to sell the house, and one of the sisters was the caretaker, and the other sister was somebody who was in the early stages of dementia. And the way that they lived with each other was just like kind of bickering and getting on each other's nerves. And because of this disability that one of them was going through, she reacted certain ways, and then the other sister reacted in the opposite way to that. And so they were constantly on each other's backs because of the situation. And so I came in and I did the energy clearing. And then I had to go again like 2 weeks later and do it again because their situation hadn't changed. Like, they were unable to change the way they were showing up with each other. And they were really like on each other's backs the whole time. And it was really affecting the energy of the space, and also affecting what potential buyers were sensing when they came into the space. So, ideally, if you're arguing all the time, you know, you can find a way to relate better with each other, or take those arguments outside the house and just kind of keep this space sacred for a little while. It really takes daily choosing of how you're going to show up in the space, and also um, just really creating this sacred vision of your space and not allowing any of the other stuff in, right? Just being really, setting really clear boundaries. I actually shared on the Feng Shui Pathways page something about your home. There was a meme where your home is not a storage space, but really it's about boundaries. And that is really the truth, that a lot of people who have clutter and heavy energies in their space, it have a boundary issue where they're not like drawing the line between what they allow into their life and into their space, and where they're drawing the line. So it's kind of interesting to think of it that way. So I hope that helps you guys think it through differently and understand that energy clearing is a really powerful transformation that you can make in your space on your own. You don't have to hire somebody to do it. You can really make a difference in your space. And if you clear regularly, it'll feel better. And if you get to the point where you feel like you're clearing, but it's not helping, that's when maybe it's time to look at having somebody come in and help you with this. Typically, I recommend doing an energy clearing, on the full moon. Sometimes I do it on the new moon as well. So at least you're doing it once a month or so. And I definitely do it annually on the new year. And anytime, like I said, anytime, if there's something that goes down and we're having a stressful day, I take out my tools and I do an energy clearing at that point. So, yeah, keep your energy clear. It really makes a difference. If you've never done an energy clearing, I think everybody who's watching, or who's spoken so far who has spoken, I know you guys are kind of into this and do this probably a few times. But pay attention, and when you feel like your space is off, do the energy clearing, because it really makes a difference. And then implement some of these things into your daily routine, which will help you maintain the energy so that it is a sacred space, and that there is a sacred boundary around what's allowed in, and you're consistently doing things within your space that lifts the vibe up, instead of weighing it down, and it will make a really big difference. If you are needing support with energy clearing, I do have an energy clearing only option available. I do them remotely as well. And so I know that's hard to understand for a lot of people, but there is a way of sort of projecting yourself into a space and being able to do an energy clearing. And that is something that I do. I've done it often. I mean, I started doing it by projecting myself into my parents' house and clearing energy there. And I do it for clients as well now. So if you're remote and you need help with energy clearing, that's an option. I always include a package which is feng shui and energy clearing together. I think doing the two of them together is so powerful. They work incredibly well off of each other. But I do have that energy clearing only package available if anybody's interested in that. And this time of year, heading into the end of 2020, which has been a brutal year for so many of us, I can't think of a better time to do an energy clearing. Like, if you haven't been doing it consistently all year, go do one now, and plan to do one again at the end of the year. I always do them more intentionally at the end of the year and the beginning of the new year, because it's symbolic of saying goodbye to that old energy, to the history of everything that's gone on this year, and inviting in fresh new energy and opportunity for the coming year. So this is a great year to think about either doing energy clearing for yourself or hiring somebody to come in and do an energy clearing, or energy clearing and feng shui together. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'm here for a little bit longer and I'm happy to answer any questions. If not, I'll just keep rambling on. I really think the way that that client described, being able to look at a picture. And this has happened to me too. I can remember, first of all, I can remember when my kids were really young, and like in my memory, our house was a mess all the time, like toys, stuff everywhere. And it's funny because now I go back and I look at pictures and I look and I'm like, it wasn't so bad. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, but it felt like you were just so in the middle of it. And I think that that's one of the other things about energy work is that if you're in the energy all the time, you can kind of become numb to it, and you have an impression of it it's just the impression that you have of it. And that is another reason why sometimes it can be better to have somebody come in and help you with it, because you're blind to your own challenges and you're blind to your own solutions. And you kind of have this energetic set point that you can work on, whereas somebody coming in with a different set of eyes or a different skill set can see it differently and act on it differently. So I find that's true with energy clearing and with feng shui, because a lot of people, you're so embedded in your space that you can't even see the solutions or ways to rearrange things to make it better. I have a client that I'll be working with next week. I've been to her house before. Now she is dealing with working from home and having what seems to be probably a semi-permanent office in her space. And she's been playing with it for months and trying to make the office, some kind of semi-permanent office work, and she can't figure out how to make it work. And so I'm going to come in and we're going to look at her space. And I think that because I'm looking at it from a different perspective, will be it'll be a lot easier to find a solution. Things that you just can't see when you're in the middle of the muck. It's really hard to see the solutions and the options that are available. Let's see. I'm going to check and make sure there's no questions here. Um, Hi, Bibiana. I'm glad you like these tips. Ingrid, Robin, I'm glad you're here for Feng Shui Fridays. Thank you. I'm really loving doing these. I do have to say that next week I have an appointment to have my hair colored, and so I'm going to try to do it on Friday still, but it may be later in the day, so just watch for that. Liz says, can I do an energy clearing while my house is cluttered and messy? I'm going through a massive decluttering project, and it's creating piles of stuff that we're getting out of the house, and they linger a bit while you find the appropriate new homes. Yeah, I think it's fine to do an energy clearing now. I mean, it definitely works better when the space is clean. Like a true energy clearing process is, devotionally cleaning your house and decluttering your house, and then doing the energy work on top of that. I don't do that all the time because I don't have time for that all the time. But so if you're in the middle of a process like that, don't let it stop you from doing the energy clearing. Actually, it could be really powerful to help settle the energies that are getting kicked up by that clearing. I think when people do a lot of decluttering, it's easy to forget that you're not just moving stuff, you're shifting energy and you're shifting the way energy flows. And that's why when you're in the middle of a construction project or a big decluttering project, or you've started to clean a room and you get halfway through and you get that complete overwhelmed feeling, that's your body reacting to the energy shift. It's not necessarily the fact that it's really overwhelming. But that process of doing the energy clearing can sometimes help uh, balance and harmonize that energy that you've been shaking up when you're moving and cleaning and decluttering things. And it can also help bring a solution to light. Those things that are waiting for the appropriate new home. Sometimes once the energy has settled, that next opportunity comes to light. So I definitely recommend going ahead and doing that energy clearing now, even though your house isn't in perfectly clean condition. Ingrid says, I know you talked about using bowls of salt to clear energy. How long do you leave it for? So I usually put it up for at least 24 hours. Sometimes I'll do it over the weekends, but I wouldn't leave it longer than that because I think it loses effectiveness after that. So I would say 24 to 48 hours, and then take the salt and dispose of it outside of the house. And ideally, if you can find the right spot, kind of returning it to the earth. And what you're doing is kind of taking the energies that have been absorbed and allowing them to be transmuted into the earth and become new growth, new opportunities. Robin asks, do you recommend diffusing an essential oil blend for energy clearing? Yeah, I definitely love essential oils for clearing energy and for just in general shifting the vibe of a space. And so you can kind of decide what your space needs. Like if it's feeling kind of heavy and depressed, I usually would go towards like a sweet orange essential oil because the citrus oils are really happy and joyful and uplifting. And so by bringing that, diffusing that energy into the space, you're bringing more of that vibe into the space. If it's feeling more like you need to clear away negative energies, then diffusing something like sage itself or rosemary or eucalyptus are like very cleansing and clearing in the sense that they kind of just feel like they're washing the energy of the space. So I definitely recommend that for sure. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? I'm happy to answer. If not, I will see you next week and I will announce the time probably by Monday. And I really appreciate you guys coming here. I have missed doing this. I had some family stuff going on in addition to COVID stuff and homeschooling and all that stuff. So I was not coming live at all earlier this year, and I'm so happy to be doing it and be back. I really love having these conversations. This is a topic that I think makes a difference in people's lives. And so it's my passion and purpose to share it and remind people to pay attention to their surroundings and treat it really well because it's an extension of you and it will influence you in a positive way as well. Okay, I don't see any other questions. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.